This is Dillon Brooks. He's an asshole.
Brooks, it was deflected. It's loose. Hold on. Brooks, and took him to the ground, was in the West with Utah. So they've seen each other a lot.
And Brooks got there late with the swipe.
Draymond Green adjudicated for
Brooks. And LeBron just wouldn't return the favor.
Even though NBA fans will tell you he belongs in China, Dillon Brooks is one of the most important players in the NBA. Maybe even more important than LeBron James. Yes, you heard that correctly. In order to understand his importance, we first need to clear a few things up. When your team wins a championship, the feeling is second to none. The accumulation of hard work from the players, coaches, general manager, ownership, from the whole organization is felt and appreciated by the fans when the ultimate goal is achieved. When we as fans have a vested interest in a team winning, particularly our own team, we achieve the highest level of excitement and satisfaction. A close second, actively rooting against the villain. It's why I hate Patrick Mahomes. I hate him. Okay, I don't actually hate him. I just don't want him to ever win anything ever again. I recognize his greatness as an athlete and competitor, and because of this, I want my team or another team to stop him from achieving the ultimate goal of winning a Super Bowl. As strange as it is, I'm actively rooting against him in terms of team success. I'm not rooting against him outside of football. Patrick Mahomes is a strong pillar of his community and benefits those around him way more than I ever have. If Patrick Mahomes is such a great guy, why is he seen as the villain? The answer is surprisingly simple, because every sports villain follows one of two formulas and fits into one of two categories. If I said Dillon Brooks, LeBron James, Kevin Durant, the Golden State Warriors, Bad Boy Pistons, Boston Celtics, and Los Angeles Lakers, what do all of these things have in common? Well, they are all basketball related, but the correct answer is that at one point in time, they have all been the primary villain in the NBA. If I say Patrick Mahomes, Tom Brady, Legion of Boom, Seattle Seahawks, what do they all have in common? They all were the main villain of the NFL at some point. In the past, we rooted against other teams. The Bad Boy Pistons were rooted against because they played a violent style of basketball that was at times borderline dirty and other times legitimately and straight up dirty. The Lakers and Celtics have won so much that people despise their organizations and still hold resentment to this day. The Dallas Cowboys won 3 Super Bowls in the 90s and haven't had success since, and lots of people get enjoyment in their failure. Our villains are no longer predominantly teams, they're individuals. A modern day sports villain falls into one of two categories following a specific formula. The first starts with a player that is an underdog. We as a sports community root for them as long as they don't play against our team. Once that underdog finally wins something of importance, they start talking way more than they had previously, and we turn on them because they get too outwardly cocky. Eventually they get humbled, and if they humble brag instead of being cocky moving forward, fans celebrate them again. It's like clockwork. That's the psychology of a fan. Even if a player is the best and deserves to talk too much, and fans turn away from supporting that player. Look at Richard Sherman and the Legion of Boom. Richard Sherman was a former wide receiver turned cornerback selected in the 5th round. Cam Chancellor was selected in the 5th round. Brandon Browner was an undrafted free agent. Byron Maxwell was a 6th rounder. Only Earl Thomas was drafted in the 1st round. What happened? Richard Sherman trash talked Tom Brady during a regular season game. Sherman and the Seahawks backed it up when they obliterated Peyton Manning and the Broncos in the Super Bowl. They were no longer an underdog, and they started talking even more than before. Then Tom Brady humbled them the next year in the Super Bowl, giving us this all-time meme. It follows the formula. Sherman was an underdog, we root for him, he wins, talks more publicly, we turn on him, then he gets humbled. The same situation happened with the Golden State Warriors. Steph Curry suffered a bunch of ankle injuries. Clay didn't get enough run or early playing time after being drafted. Draymond was a 2nd round pick despite how much he contributes to a team. The Warriors didn't have much playoff success. They lost to the Spurs in 2013 and the Clippers in 2014. Then Steve Kerr was hired and the Warriors won a title in their first year with him as head coach. They then went 73-9 the next season and were talking a big game until LeBron and the Cavs came back from 3-1 to beat them in the 2016 NBA Finals. At this point, the Warriors weren't really a villain, they just had a healthy rivalry with LeBron and the Cavs. That all changed when Kevin Durant joined their team that next offseason.
And you depart for the team that beat you?
Because of Durant's move, most NBA fans had not only an individual to root against, but also a collective team to root against. The Warriors were viewed collectively as the villain of the NBA. Only when Durant left and the Warriors were humbled by injuries, had a couple bad seasons, there was a bigger villain to take down, the Celtics, did the Warriors reclaim their underdog role on their way to their 4th NBA title and first finals MVP for Stephen Curry. The second formula is almost exactly the same as the first formula with one small change. The underdog player hasn't won yet. That's it. The amount of leeway a fan gives a player to talk is equivalent to the amount of success a player has in terms of winning championships. Even individual success might not always give players leeway to talk in fans' opinion. Look at Dillon Brooks. Dillon Brooks was drafted in the 2nd round at pick 45 overall. He had to work on his game to get to where he is now. His first season in the league, he was a relative nobody. In 2023, he was just named to all defensive second team and signed a lucrative contract with the Houston Rockets. Dillon Brooks was an underdog who people generally rooted for. Then he turned into a dirty player who won't stop talking, and fans aren't having it because he hasn't won anything yet. Patrick Mahomes doesn't talk much, and if he does, he has the success to back that talk up. So why is Patrick Mahomes seen as a villain? Because there's actually a third category of villain: the villains that defy conventional wisdom. For years, LeBron gave everything he had to Cleveland, and in response, they never put the correct talent around him. So he got on TV, raised millions of dollars for charity, joined Wade and Bosch in Miami, and then held a pre-championship celebration where he said,
"Not 2, not 3, not 4, not 5, not 6.
LeBron follows the formula. He was an underdog in his life and the early part of his sports career. Then he started talking too much for fans' liking without having won anything. Got humbled, but bounced back to win championships. All the talking isn't the main gripe fans have with LeBron. No, he's earned the right to talk. The main gripe fans have with LeBron in regards to basketball is that he changed the rules of the game. A player constructing a team rather than a GM, it's unheard of. We as fans like consistency and fairness in sports. If someone does something contradictory to what we know, even though it's not explicitly cheating, it feels like it. And then that person becomes a villain. When a player defies conventional wisdom, they tend to threaten our GOAT's hold on greatness. LeBron challenges Jordan, Mahomes challenges Brady. Even if you're not a Bulls fan or a Patriots fan, that just doesn't sit right with us. Dillon Brooks does not fall into the category of defying conventional wisdom. He's not a good enough player for that. Just regular old Dillon Brooks isn't one of the most important players in the NBA. But sports villain Dillon Brooks, he absolutely is. Thank you for your time.
You have to have the antagonist.
Yes.
A strong villainous character will really drive the narrative along. If you don't have that, you have nothing from which your hero has to bounce off of.